Inside, the apartment silence pressed against me like a warning. Lily closed the door behind us and whispered, "You need to understand everything now." I nodded slowly, saying, "Start from the beginning." She took a shaky breath and said, "This is bigger than you think, Ethan." I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "Then I will face it with you." The truth felt heavier than anything I had ever known, and I knew there was no turning back. I first heard the rumor about Lily at a cafe, when two strangers were laughing about a fake heiress pretending to be rich. At first I ignored it, but then I saw Lily's name attached to it online. My heart dropped. Lily was already stressed because her mother, Mrs. Hart, was becoming stricter every day, demanding she prove her worth to the family name. When I asked Lily about it, she forced a smile. "It's nothing, Ethan, just nonsense." But I could feel she was hiding something. At home, Mrs. Hart confronted Lily brutally after seeing the rumor spread. She slapped Lily in front of me, shouting, "You are embarrassing this family." I stepped forward, but Lily stopped me. "Don't," she whispered. That moment confused me. Why didn't she defend herself? Later that night, Lily cried in silence, refusing to explain anything. "Daniel told me something doesn't add up. Rich families don't react like this unless there is real danger." I started observing everything closely instead of reacting emotionally. That was the first time I felt something deeper behind the rumor, something dangerous. And I decided I would find out the truth myself. I called Lily that night, but she didn't answer. "Send me a message," I wrote. "Stop worrying, Ethan, please," she replied later. I could hear exhaustion in her voice, even through text. "Where are you really?" I asked. "Home," she said, but I knew it wasn't the full truth. Daniel called me soon after. "Meet me," he said. "We need to talk about the Hart family situation." I arrived at his office in silence. He slid a folder across the table. "These rumors are not random, Ethan," he said. Inside were screenshots, financial records, and private messages. My stomach tightened. "This is bigger than gossip," I said quietly. Daniel leaned forward. "Lily is being watched, Ethan, by people her mother owes money to." I froze. "This is not family drama anymore," I whispered. I left his office with my mind racing. "I need answers," I said to myself. And for the first time, I wasn't thinking emotionally, I was thinking strategically. I looked at Lily's last message again. "I'm fine, Ethan, stop overthinking." But I knew she wasn't fine. I made a decision. I said quietly, "I'm going to find out exactly what your mother is hiding. And this time I won't stop halfway." I sat in my car for a long time watching the rain hit the windshield. "Why is everything around her connected to silence?" I muttered. My phone rang again. "It's Mason, Ethan, you need to stop digging into this." "I can't," I replied. "This isn't just a rumor anymore," I said. "People get hurt when you dig too deep," Mason warned. I ended the call and looked out at the dark road ahead. "I'm already in this too far," I whispered. I knew there was no going back. I drove straight to Lily's apartment building without telling anyone. "I just need to see her," I said under my breath. The lobby felt colder than usual. The guard looked at me suspiciously. "Everything okay, sir?" he asked. "Just visiting," I said quickly, but my hands were shaking. I took the elevator, slowly watching the numbers rise. "This is not just curiosity anymore," I told myself. When the doors opened, I saw something I wasn't prepared for. Lily was sitting on the floor outside her apartment door, holding her phone tightly. "Why are you here?" I asked. Lily looked up, her eyes red. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered. I stepped closer, ignoring the tension. "Tell me what's going on, Lily," I said. She shook her head, refusing to answer. "You don't understand, Ethan, none of this is simple," she replied. I lowered my voice, trying to stay calm. "Then make me understand," I said firmly. Lily looked away like she was fighting herself. "My mother is involved in something dangerous," she finally admitted. I froze completely. "People are not just gossiping," Lily continued. "They are watching her." I realized this was bigger than anything I imagined. "Who is watching her?" I asked. Lily hesitated before answering. "People she owes money to, powerful people," she said. I took a slow breath, trying to process everything. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" I asked. Lily's voice cracked. "I was scared you would get involved," she said. I clenched my fists, but forced myself to stay calm. "This is exactly why I'm involved now," I said. I looked at Lily, standing there scared and exhausted. Lily grabbed my arm suddenly. "Ethan, please just leave this alone," she begged. I shook my head. "I can't walk away from this anymore," I said. Lily's eyes filled with fear. "If you stay, you'll get hurt," she said. I stepped back, slowly realizing there was no safe version of this anymore. Then I'll be careful, I replied. Lily shook her head, crying harder. You don't understand, she whispered, they will come after you too. I felt a cold realization settle in my chest. Then tell me everything, I said firmly. Lily finally broke down completely. All right, she whispered, I'll tell you everything, but you can't stop halfway. I nodded slowly, knowing I had already crossed the point of no return. I'm already in this, I said. Lily wiped her tears and opened the apartment door wider. Come in, she whispered, we can't talk here. I followed her inside, feeling like I was stepping into something far darker than a rumor. I stopped asking Lily direct questions. Instead, I watched her carefully every day. Whenever someone mentioned Heiress around her, her fingers tightened and her gaze dropped for a second. You're overthinking again, Daniel said while sitting across from me at the cafe. I shook my head. No, I'm noticing patterns. He leaned forward. What kind of patterns? Fear, I replied. She reacts like she's been trained to fear that word. Daniel frowned. That's not normal. It's not supposed to be, I said. Later that night, Daniel sent me a message. I found something. Check your email. I opened it immediately. My heart slowed as I read. Missing Heiress, Olivia Shaw. Last seen 3 years ago. I stared at the screen. Olivia Shaw, I whispered. The article included a blurred photo. My breath stopped. She looks like Lily, I said out loud. Daniel called me instantly. You see it now? He asked. Say it clearly, I replied. She's identical, he said. I leaned back in my chair. This is not a coincidence. The next day, I met journalist Noah Reed in a quiet parking garage. He didn't waste time. You're involved with Lily Hart? He asked. Yes, I said. Why? He opened his notebook. The Hart family is not clean, he said, and Olivia Shaw disappearing is connected to them. I narrowed my eyes. Explain. He lowered his voice. Someone is being erased from a public story. That sounds insane, I said. No, he replied. It sounds expensive. Meanwhile, Lily texted me. Where are you? Mother is angry again. I typed back slowly. I'm working. She replied immediately. Please don't get involved deeper, Ethan. I stared at her message for a long time. Too late, I whispered. At home, Mrs. Hart was changing too. She barely spoke to Lily now, except commands. You stay in your room, she ordered one evening. Lily looked at me helplessly. Do you see this? She whispered. I see it, I said quietly. She grabbed my wrist. She's not letting me breathe anymore. I know, I replied. That night, I noticed Victor Lane arriving at the house. Daniel had already warned me about him. Dangerous man, Daniel said. Fixes problems for wealthy families in illegal ways. I watched Victor shake hands with Mrs. Hart. Lily saw him too. Who is he? She asked. Her mother answered sharply. Business partner. Lily turned to me. That's not normal, right? No, I said. Later, Lily broke down in the kitchen. Why is everything about me turning into something I don't understand? She asked. I stepped closer. You're not crazy. Something is being hidden. She looked at me with fear. Do you still trust me? I didn't answer immediately. I trust you, I said finally. I just don't trust the story around you. She looked down. That doesn't make me feel better. I know, I said softly. The silence between us grew heavier. The next morning, Daniel arrived again. You need to stop digging, he warned. I can't, I said. He sighed. You're going to trigger something bigger than you think. I already did, I replied. Meanwhile, journalist Noah Reed sent another message. Meet me again. I found proof she didn't disappear. She was replaced. I froze. Replaced? I said. Yes, he replied. I looked at Lily sleeping on the couch. She's not just part of a rumor, I whispered. She's part of a system. Daniel watched me closely. Systems don't like being exposed. I don't care, I said. He grabbed my shoulder. You should, but I was already too deep. Lily woke up later that night. You look stressed, she said. I'm fine, I replied. She sat beside me. You're lying. I sighed. Maybe. She hesitated. Are you going to leave? No, I said immediately. Even if it gets dangerous? I looked at her, especially then. Her eyes softened for a moment. Ethan, she whispered. I'm not walking away, I said. She leaned back slowly. Then you don't understand what you're stepping into. Then explain it, I said. She shook her head. I can't. I frowned. Why? Because if I say it out loud, she said, it becomes real. That sentence stayed with me. I sat back down beside Lily because she had started shaking again. Ethan, she whispered, if you keep digging, they will come for you too. I looked at her carefully. Who exactly are they? She hesitated. People you don't argue with. That's not an answer, I said. It's the only one I have, she replied. My phone vibrated again. Daniel. Ethan, listen, he said when I picked up. Noah Reed has been removed from the investigation. What do you mean removed? I asked. His files are gone and access blocked. Someone is cleaning everything fast. I tightened my grip. So it's real. Yes, Daniel said. And now you're next if you continue. I looked at Lily again. She whispered, please stop. But I couldn't. I'm already involved, I said. Daniel sighed. Then don't trust anyone blindly. The call ended. Lily stood slowly. I hate this, she said. I know, I replied. She looked at me. I just wanted a normal life. I stood too. Nothing about this is normal anymore. Silence filled the room. Then she said, my real name isn't the one you know, she whispered. I stared. What? It was changed to protect me, she said. I felt my chest tighten. From what? She didn't answer. Only tears came, and I understood the truth was deeper than anything I had imagined. And I realized that every answer I had been searching for was connected to a past that someone was desperately trying to bury from me completely. I met Sophie Carter in a place I didn't expect, an almost empty parking garage behind a closed bookstore. She didn't smile when she saw me. She just said, you're getting too close. I frowned. Too close to what? To something you don't understand yet, she replied. I stepped closer. Then make me understand. She sighed like she had already decided I was trouble. Take this, she said, handing me a thin folder. I didn't open it immediately. What is it? Proof, she answered. And a warning. That word made my stomach tighten. You need to stop asking questions, she added, lowering her voice, or you'll get dragged into this too. I finally opened the folder. My breath stopped. Documents. Old records. Identity logs. Photos. And one name repeated again and again. Lily Hart. But something was wrong. This doesn't make sense, I whispered. Sophie crossed her arms. Read it properly. I flipped the page slowly. Birth records inconsistent. Family registration gaps. Financial guardianship transfers. I looked up sharply. This is fake. No, she said. It's controlled. I froze. Controlled how? She didn't answer immediately. Then she said, Lily Hart is not fully Hart family born. My grip tightened on the folder. That's impossible, I said. Sophie leaned closer. Nothing in this case is clean. I left her immediately after that. My mind was burning the entire drive back. When I reached Daniel, I threw the folder on the table. Look at this, I said. He opened it carefully. Minutes passed in silence. Then he looked up. No way, he whispered. So, she might actually be the heiress? I shook my head. That's the problem. Nothing makes sense anymore. Daniel flipped through the pages again. Why would Mrs. Hart hide this? I don't know, I said. And why pretend she's something else? He asked. I leaned back. Unless someone benefits from the lie. That silence hit harder than anything else. Later that night, I went back home. Lily was sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. I sat beside her carefully. Are you okay? She gave a small laugh. Do I look okay? No, I said honestly. She sighed. Everything feels wrong lately. I stayed quiet. Then she spoke again, softer this time. I sometimes feel like I don't belong here, she whispered. Like I was placed in this family, not born into it. Her voice cracked at the end. I turned toward her. What do you mean placed? She shook her head. I don't know. It's just a feeling. I studied her face. She wasn't lying, but she also wasn't telling everything. Before I could respond, my phone rang. Daniel. I answered immediately. What now? His voice was tense. Victor Lane is pushing harder. I stood up. Explain. He's demanding control over the family asset, Daniel said. I froze. Asset. There was a pause. Lily, he replied. I looked at Lily across the room. She was still staring at the floor. Daniel continued. Mrs. Hart is under pressure. Victor wants legal control over her position in the family structure. I felt my chest tighten. This isn't normal business pressure. No, Daniel said. It's power control. I ended the call without another word. Lily looked up at me. What did he say? I hesitated. Nothing important. She narrowed her eyes. You're lying again. I sat back down. It's complicated. She stood up suddenly. Everything is complicated with me lately. Her voice rose slightly. Why is everyone talking about me like I'm something to be controlled? She asked. I didn't answer immediately, because I was starting to understand the same thing. You're not imagining it, I said quietly. Her eyes widened slightly. So it's true. Before I could explain further, the door opened. Mrs. Hart walked in. Her expression changed instantly when she saw me holding the folder. What is that? She asked sharply. I stood up slowly. We need to talk. Her voice dropped dangerously. No, you need to stop digging. Lily stepped between us. Mom, what is going on? Mrs. Hart didn't look at her. Go to your room. No, Lily said firmly for the first time. That surprised even me. Mrs. Hart turned slowly. Excuse me. Lily's voice shook, but she didn't back down. Why am I an asset to someone? Silence filled the room instantly. Mrs. Hart's face tightened. That's not your concern, she said. But the damage was already done. Lily looked at me. Ethan, what is she talking about? I looked at the folder in my hands. Everything connected too fast now. Daniel's warning echoed in my head. If the truth comes out, someone will lose everything. I exhaled slowly. This isn't just family drama, I said. Mrs. Hart stepped forward quickly. Stop. But I didn't stop. It's identity control, I continued. And financial protection. Lily's breathing became uneven. No, that's not real. Mrs. Hart shouted. Enough. But I had already seen enough patterns. Victor Lane, the documents, the missing identity gaps, and Lily standing right in the middle of it all. I turned toward her. Lily, I said softly, you need to sit down. Her voice broke. Tell me the truth. I swallowed hard. And for the first time, I realized the truth wasn't just hidden. It was protected, and someone was willing to destroy everything to keep it that way. The breaking point came during a private family gathering I was never supposed to attend. Mrs. Hart had insisted it was just family matters, but the tension in the house felt heavier than usual. Even the air seemed controlled, like every word had already been decided before it was spoken. Lily stood near the center of the room, quiet but tense. I stayed slightly behind her, watching everything. Mrs. Hart's voice cut through the silence. You're slipping again, she said sharply. Lily looked up. What do you mean? You know exactly what I mean, Mrs. Hart snapped. You're acting like her again. Lily frowned. Like who? The moment the question landed, the temperature in the room changed. Mrs. Hart stepped closer. Don't play innocent with me. Victor Lane was sitting in the corner like he belonged there. Too calm, too patient, like he was waiting for a moment he already knew would come. Mrs. Hart continued, voice rising. You are nothing but a replacement. Lily's breath caught. A replacement for what? Mrs. Hart's hand moved before anyone could stop it. The slap echoed through the room. I took a step forward instantly. Hey, but Lily raised her hand slightly without looking at me. Don't, she whispered. That stopped me more than force ever could. Lily didn't cry. She didn't panic like before. She just stood there, holding her cheek, breathing slowly. Then she spoke. Then tell me the truth, she said quietly. Who am I really? Silence dropped instantly. Even Mrs. Hart froze. Victor Lane stood up slowly, clapping once. Well, he said with a faint smile, this got interesting. Mrs. Hart turned sharply. Victor, stay out of this. He didn't move. I think I've stayed out long enough. Lily looked between them, confusion turning into something heavier. Fear was leaving her eyes. Something else was replacing it. Sophie entered the room moments later. She looked at me first, then at Lily. I didn't want it to come out like this, she said quietly. Mrs. Hart's voice cracked. Sophie, don't you dare. But Sophie didn't stop. The documents were altered, she said. The identity shift happened after the custody dispute. Lily's hands trembled slightly. Custody dispute? Sophie nodded slowly. Between Olivia Shaw's biological lineage and the Hart guardianship claim. Lily whispered, Olivia Shaw. I stepped closer instinctively. Victor leaned back with a small smile. Finally, Mrs. Hart turned on him. This is none of your business. It became my business the moment inheritance control was involved, Victor replied calmly. Lily's voice broke through everything. Stop, she said. Just stop, all of you. Everyone went silent again. She looked at Sophie. Say it clearly. Sophie hesitated. Then she spoke. You are not a fake heiress. That sentence hit the room like a shockwave. Lily blinked. What? Sophie continued carefully. You are the real Olivia Shaw. The words didn't land immediately. Lily just stood there, like her mind refused to accept them. Mrs. Hart stepped forward suddenly. That's enough. But Sophie didn't stop this time. She was taken in after the dispute, Sophie said. Her identity was hidden under the Hart name for protection and control. Lily's voice turned hollow. Control, Victor added softly, almost amused. Or ownership. I felt my jaw tighten immediately. Mrs. Hart snapped. She was safe with me. Lily turned slowly toward her. Her voice was barely audible. Safe, she repeated. Mrs. Hart hesitated for the first time. That hesitation said everything. Lily stepped back. So my whole life, she whispered, was built on a lie? Her knees almost gave out. I moved beside her instantly. Hey, I said softly. Look at me. Her eyes flickered toward mine, shaken. I continued carefully. Your life wasn't fake. Her voice cracked. Then what was it? Hidden, I said. There's a difference. That line made her freeze. Something inside her shifted. Slowly, like a door opening after years of being locked. Lily looked back at Mrs. Hart. Her voice was quieter now, but sharper. Did you ever plan to tell me? Mrs. Hart didn't answer immediately. That silence was the answer. Lily nodded slowly, like she finally understood something painful. I wasn't raised, she said. I was managed. Victor chuckled lightly. That's one way to put it. I stepped forward immediately. Don't talk like she's an object. He raised his hand slightly. Relax. Truth just sounds ugly sometimes. Sophie looked down. This should have been handled years ago. Mrs. Hart suddenly shouted. You think I had a choice? Lily flinched slightly, but she didn't back away this time. She whispered, did you? The room went silent again. Even Mrs. Hart had no answer strong enough. Lily turned slowly toward me. Her eyes were different now. Not confused anymore. Not lost. Just waking up. I don't know what I am anymore, she said quietly. I shook my head immediately. You are still you. She swallowed hard. But which version? I looked at her carefully. The real one, I said. The one they try to hide. For the first time, her breathing steadied slightly. Victor watched quietly now, less amused. Mrs. Hart looked terrified, because she understood something too late. Lily was no longer just reacting. She was starting to understand. And understanding was the first step she had never been allowed to take. The news broke faster than anything I had ever seen. Noah Reed published everything. I remember sitting in Daniel's office when the first alert started flooding his screen. It's out, he said quietly. I frowned. What do you mean out? He turned the laptop toward me. Headline after headline. Missing heiress found. Olivia Shaw identity exposed. Hart family fraud investigation. My chest tightened immediately. This is going to explode, I said. Daniel didn't look surprised. It already has. Within hours, it wasn't just news. It was chaos. Phones wouldn't stop ringing. Social media was collapsing into theories, screenshots, old records resurfacing like buried ghosts. And in the middle of it all, Lily, or Olivia, or whoever she was supposed to be. Mrs. Hart didn't even get a chance to explain herself publicly. Arrest came fast. I was there when it happened. She stood in the hallway of the house we once called home, silent for the first time in her life. Police officers spoke, papers were signed, and she didn't fight it. She just looked at Lily, like she had lost something she couldn't replace. Lily didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. Victor Lane tried to disappear the same day everything broke loose. But Daniel called me that night. We got him, he said. You did? I asked. He ran straight into a financial trap we already set, Daniel replied. He never stood a chance. I leaned back slowly. So it's over. Daniel paused. For them. Not for her. I understood exactly what he meant. That night, Lily sat on the edge of the balcony of her apartment, staring at the city like it didn't belong to her anymore. I stepped outside quietly. She didn't turn. She just asked, did you see it? Yes, I said softly. Silence followed. Then she finally spoke. If I am Olivia, she whispered, then who have I been all these years? I didn't answer immediately, because that question wasn't about facts. It was about identity, about pain, about survival. I sat beside her carefully. You are the same person, I said finally. Just finally unchained. She let out a shaky breath. Unchained sounds heavier than free. I nodded. Sometimes it is. She looked down at her hands. I don't feel like her. That's normal, I said. You lived as someone else long enough that your mind forgot the original version. Her voice cracked slightly. So what do I do now? I turned toward her. You rebuild, I said. From truth this time. She didn't respond. Just kept looking at the lights below. Days passed slowly after that. The world outside kept talking, but inside everything felt strangely quiet. Lily stopped answering calls at first. Then, slowly, she started choosing which ones mattered. Lawyers, advisors, people who weren't trying to own her life anymore. Daniel helped structure the remaining chaos. And I stayed close. Not because she needed saving anymore, but because she needed something else. Stability. One evening, she walked into the kitchen while I was making coffee. I changed something today, she said. I looked up. What did you change? My name, she replied. I paused. Back to Olivia? She shook her head slowly. No. I waited. I kept Lily, she said quietly. Olivia is part of me, but not all of me. I nodded slowly. That makes sense. She leaned against the counter. People keep calling me a missing heiress like I was an object that was lost. I sighed. They don't understand what it cost you. She looked at me. Do you? I didn't answer immediately. Then I said honestly, I understand enough to know you're not a headline. That made her smile faintly. A real one this time. Not forced. Not afraid. Later that week, she stood beside me again on the balcony. Wind was softer this time. Less heavy. She said quietly, you stayed when everyone was confused, even when I didn't understand myself. I looked at her hand resting near mine, and gently, I held it. I didn't say anything at first, because some moments don't need words. They just need presence. After a while, I said softly, I never left because I didn't see you as a problem to solve. She looked at me. I continued, I saw you as a person going through something no one explained properly. Her eyes softened. For the first time, she didn't look like she was surviving anything. Just living. I think I'm scared of being seen now, she admitted quietly. I nodded. That's normal too. A small silence passed between us. Then she whispered, but I don't feel alone anymore. I squeezed her hand gently. You're not. And for the first time since everything began, Lily smiled without fear.